Today I'm going to discuss the most commonly asked questions about vintage sewing machines. All of the questions that I am presenting here came from my website, and if you haven't already, please do go over and check out my website at thimblebook.com. Also, hit that subscribe button. The first question reads as follows. We have an older Kenmore zigzag model 158.1070 and it appears to be seized. The large hand wheel will not turn. Any advice on whether this machine is worth putting money into? The 1070 is not an all metal machine, and if I am not mistaken, it is one of the later model Kenmores that was not made in Japan but Taiwan. These kind of machines are not all metal and they're not highly sought after by collectors. However, they still have more metal in them than a cheap sewing machine from Walmart. So if the machine does not have any tension problems and the only thing that's wrong with it is it's seized, then I definitely would open it up and oil it and put synthetic gear grease on all of the gears to get it back moving and just use that machine. Because if you were to buy a brand new machine of the same quality, you would be spending at least $400. This question reads as follows. I found a white 477618B in a basement of a house I bought. Serial number 11066. Is it worth anything? Well, I will have to not answer the question to answer the question. If you have a Singer sewing machine, which many people do ask me about Singers, all you have to do is go to the IceMax website and look through the list of Singer sewing machines, and 90% of the time you will find your model on that list. Now, if you have a Kenmore machine, then if you go to the Sears website and pull up this list, it shows some of the Sears Kenmore machines, but not all of them. And if you cannot find your Kenmore on this list, or if you have a machine that's not a Singer or Kenmore, then you will type in the name of the sewing machine and do a Google search and go to images and look for an image that matches your machine and click on that. Here I have clicked on the white 477 and found it listed on OfferUp for $60. 90% of these vintage sewing machines are not worth a lot of money, and the reason is because every single household had a sewing machine inside it back in the day because everybody was sewing. So they're not rare. And if you see any listings for machines listed as rare, most of the times that's not true. Now, if you still cannot find any information about your sewing machine, then I would implore you to visit boards like quiltboard.com or Pattern Review and see if there's any information on your machines on there. Now, I have had some machines where I couldn't find any information anywhere, and the only place that I was able to find information in that sort of situation was to go through archives of advertisements that took place during the time period to find out more about the machine and where it was sold, and then get the model number and so on and so forth. I have left links down in the description box below to some sources that I use for finding machines. I hope that it is helpful. One person writes, for $20 this Morse 4100 is in great shape. The 3 buttons normal silk tack are all in down position and won't come back up. Any suggestions? The 3 buttons on the Morse 4100 are located underneath the machine and they are spring loaded. 90% of the time, most people do not oil or grease those springs, and you would need to use a synthetic gear grease in order to grease those springs so that you don't get anything on those plastic buttons, because those plastic buttons will degrade if you do get the wrong kind of oil or grease on them. So that's just to be noted. Oh, and as you can see there, it is spring loaded. You can see the spring and where that arrow is. And I'm about to press the buttons there so you can see how it moves. You see it moving there? So if that spring is not functioning correctly, then it won't move. I would try the grease first, and if the grease does not work, then I would go to the hardware store and find another spring the exact same size as that one and replace the spring with that. And another thing that you might want to note is that on the top of the machine, there's two screws there. And if you use a flathead screwdriver and then screw those two screws, the entire button system will come up and you can pull the whole thing out and actually readjust it and put a new spring in and then just replace it. And it should just work just fine after you do that. I just had my Sears Kenmore 158-17-8010 lose the ability to lock my pressure foot, and I cannot find a tutorial as to how to adjust it. The pressure foot has loosened up and there seems to be a trick as to how to tighten it, but I haven't figured it out. Do you know any site that would provide instructions for this, or can you provide insight? I have a Kenmore too, and my Kenmore is the Kenmore 1941. It's pretty much the same exact system. All of the presser feet are long. They are super high shank feet, and you put the foot into the machine, and then there's this little latch that locks it into place. Over time, that latch becomes loosened and falls back down towards the needle plate. In order to fix the problem, you have to adjust the latch up to the position where it needs to be in order to keep the presser foot attached to the machine. And then you use a ratchet and a flathead screwdriver to tighten that screw back up so that everything is in its place. It's not hard to do. I used a 6 millimeter bit on that in order to get that done, and it only takes a few minutes to do. Well, there are so many more questions that people have asked me about vintage sewing machines on my website. If you all are interested in having me to do a video like this where I answer commonly asked questions, then please let me know that in the comment section below. For now, I'm going to head out, but I really do thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to receive more sewing related content.